Greetings everyone, my name is Jessica Masterson and I will be your instructor for Assessment for Teaching and Learning this semester. And I'm so excited to work with you all. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about your cohort, and even in this virtual environment, I'm excited about getting to know all of you and forming a classroom community. So this video is just to show you around our Blackboard course, introduce you to the course itself, and talk through a couple pieces of the syllabus. So let's get started. Here's our Blackboard page. And if you use this left-hand menu, this is where all the good stuff is usually on Blackboard. If you go to the Course Information tab, you will see our syllabus. And I've done something kind of fancy, at least for me, in that I have uploaded a Google Doc into this item here. So you should be able to just kind of scroll through the syllabus and hopefully navigate to whatever section is most relevant based on whatever question you have. So I've tried to do that just to make it a little bit easier for you all. Please note that some of the formatting I've noticed is a little bit off, so it's going to look a little strange. And if that's bothersome or if this format doesn't work, there is a PDF that I've attached that you can download and look, it's the same information there. So while we're on the topic of the syllabus, I'm just going to hit a couple highlights. Here it is again. I'm just trying to make it a little bit more readable for you all. So again, my name is Jessica. Feel free to call me Jessica. That's 100% acceptable. Here's some information. I've given you my cell phone number. Most of us at Washington State are not going to be on campus, so please feel free. You can text, you can call me if you have questions. That's, again, 100% fine. I'm very responsive over email. Here's my email for you all. And I will be holding regular office hours through Zoom. So on Tuesdays from 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific, you can find me in this Zoom room with this particular meeting ID. So it's there for you anytime you feel like stopping by. All right, so this class is all about classroom assessment. Wow, and I can't think of anything that's more central to public education and also more, I guess, misused and problematic in public education as assessment. And so we'll talk about that duality this semester and thinking about why it's so useful on one hand, and then also how it can be somewhat corrupted or how it can work to further disadvantage groups that are already disadvantaged. And so I find that super interesting, and I hope that we'll kind of get into the weeds into some of these conversations over the course of the semester. And here's more information for you about our course generally. In terms of structure and delivery, we will be mostly asynchronous. So the plan is still to meet the first Tuesday of every month, and the rest of the week, the other 3 weeks, in a given month, we'll have asynchronous activities. On our course calendar, which we will talk about, I've tried to make it really clear which days specifically we'll be meeting, so you can add those to your calendar and we're all kind of on the same page. We have 3 modules or units, and each unit or module has several formative assessments and culminates in one summative assessment. So this is a course about assessment, and I've tried to make it such that I'm modeling good assessment practices for you all. Prerequisites, you don't need to have any prerequisites other than being accepted into the MIT program. Here are those learning outcomes that I've talked about. There's 3 course objectives and the 2 module objectives. We're going to appraise the value of assessment as a key part of achieving educational justice. We're also going to formulate theory and research-based conceptions of culturally responsive assessment practices. And finally, we're going to design assessments and analyze and interpret assessment data. Again, more information for you here. Also, feel free to ask me additional questions if you want to dive into any of this at the start of the semester. So there are no required texts for this class. I've tried to ease the economic burden that I know a lot of textbooks can bring on students, especially this semester when a lot of us are dealing with all kinds of other things that have reduced our capacity to earn. So no required texts. I will be uploading copies of all assigned readings and media to Blackboard. That's where you'll be able to find all of those. Technology requirements and help. Obviously, since we're virtual, tech is super important. If you ever are without high-speed internet or a computer, let me know. There are lots of programs on campus that can get you a computer. And additionally, the two of us, can work together to figure out sort of a low-tech way to complete assignments if necessary. Okay, expectations for student effort. Please read closely and critically. I've tried to balance sort of the expectations of a master's level class with the fact that it's a pandemic and life is wild right now for so many of us. So I've tried to be really thoughtful about the readings that I assign, and I just ask that you do the readings carefully, closely, critically. That is going to form sort of the foundation upon which we'll build and have interesting discussions with one another. So please do the reading. I have some notes here about discussion and deliberation. You can read all of this. Essentially, discussion is super important, and I'm really big into discussion. It's a research area of mine as well. And I'm excited that we're going to have different views. And here are just some guidelines to think through as we work together and as we discuss the different views that we have. With late work, again, if there are specific issues, reach out to me ahead of time. I'm very, very flexible. Any late work that's turned in typically loses 20% of its original value. I dock off typically at 4 points in a 20-point assignment. And I don't accept late work beyond the first 2 weeks after the assignment was due, if that makes sense. So if you're going to turn something in late, you have up till 2 weeks after that initial deadline. So every morning, like today, I'm going to send you all what I call a Monday Morning Minute. This will be a video, sometimes just a text announcement that will orient you towards the week. I'll go through the readings and kind of talk about things I want you to pay attention to. I'll introduce any assignments that we'll have. That'll just be kind of your ticket to understanding what's happening the rest of the week, to try to keep you organized. Let's see, APA style citations. That's the thing within education. That's the formatting that we use. It's a really good idea to start using it now. And maybe you already learned about APA. I've linked here to OWL, the Purdue resource, which is really helpful. I'm not particular about APA beyond the in-text citations and references. Those are the two pieces that I look for. A few communication policies to think through. First of all is one I call Ask 3 Before Me. And with an online class, there are so many different facets, and I get it. Like, it's hard to figure out where you're supposed to go in order to submit this assignment or to access this reading. And I'm happy to answer those questions. What I do ask is that you first consult 3 other resources. So maybe the syllabus, maybe the most recent Monday Morning Minute, maybe course calendar, documents. Like, look around and see if your question has already been answered, and if not, let me know. I'm pretty communicative as well. Email is the best for me, as I mentioned. I'll get back to your emails in 2 business days, probably within 1 business day, and probably within a couple of hours, if we're honest, but 2 business days is the maximum. And you're welcome to leave me a voicemail. I gave you my cell number up top, but please know I typically don't answer work phone calls in the evenings or on weekends. Okay, course assignments, the exciting part here. I'm asking you all to do a VoiceThread introduction. That will be within this first week. If you've never used VoiceThread, it's pretty intuitive, I would say. And it's kind of a cool way for us to connect virtually. So I have the hyperlink here so you can log in using your WSU credentials. And that will be at the very start of the semester. And then over the course of 6 weeks, I'm going to ask you to reflect and respond critically to the readings or the media that I've assigned that week. And you're all in small groups, and this will just take place in like a Blackboard small group discussion. Sometimes I'll give you specific prompts that I want you to think about with regard to the readings, but if there's no prompt, then it's up to you to critically respond to the reading. Call out something specific you thought was interesting, or maybe that you disagreed with, or that you had a question about. And you'll formulate a short critical response, 300 to 500 words. And again, this will be sort of in a discussion board format in your small groups. So that will happen on Thursday. I'm asking you to post that response on Thursday. And then between Thursday and Sunday, I want you to respond to at least 2 of your colleagues in your small group. So you can ask a question, you can affirm something, you can respectfully disagree, right? But you're kind of forwarding the conversation through your interactions, through those follow-up responses. So here is the basic rubric that I use just to grade each of those critical responses: critical thinking, engagement with texts, connections to the course, and then contribution to the community / timeliness. It's important to note that if you don't do those follow-ups, or if they're not done on time, you won't get full credit. So take a look at this. Let me know if you have questions. Then we have 3 major summative assessments in this class. The first is called the Teaching Metaphor Project. And each of these, I should mention, I will talk to you about in much more detail as we get a little bit closer to those deadlines. That said, there's information for you available now, so if you want to, you can check out and read more about any of these assignments. Okay, so Teaching Metaphor Project is our first summative assessment. Then we have our Teacher Interview Project, where I'm going to ask you to interview a teacher about assessment. Ideally, this is the cooperating teacher that you're already working with, but if that won't work, because again, this is a wacky semester, let me know soon and we can figure out something else. And then the third summative assessment is what I call the Assessment Analysis Project, where you're actually going to design an assessment, create some sort of a lesson that's tied to that assessment. Your colleagues will all participate in the lesson and take the assessment, and you will collect the data and make some inferences about it. Okay, grading. It's a 100-point grading scale, so nothing is weighted. The points are what they are. I have a little caveat here. If anything that you turn in earns less than 80%, we can work together to try to figure out a makeup opportunity for you. Especially at the graduate level, you probably know this. Anything below a B is really considered failing at the graduate level. So I don't want that to be the situation for any of you. So again, let me know. I'm here. Here is the grading scale, pretty standard, A+ to F. You can also set up your Blackboard notifications so that you get pinged every time that somebody uploads a grade for you. And I have a hyperlink there if you're interested. Okay, and here is the parade of language that I need to show you that needs to be included, but here's about academic integrity. This is stuff that's common to all of the Washington State campuses. Here's our COVID-19 policy. If you're on campus, you got to be wearing a mask. Of course, we're not going to be on campus very much, but just so you know. So attendance policies, again, we have those 4 scheduled synchronous sessions, one September, October, November, December. And I expect you to be there. It'll take place during our regularly scheduled time, the time that we would be meeting during if we were meeting face-to-face. And if you can't make those, again, I know this is a strange semester. Let me know ahead of time and we can work out a makeup assignment so that it's not an absence. Absences don't really apply beyond those synchronous sessions, so feel free to read this information, but, I guess think about it in the context of this semester, and it may or may not apply. Reasonable accommodation. This is something I know a lot of people just kind of skip through, but I do want to say that it's super important to me that the materials that I provide are accommodating, both, of course, for students with disabilities, and that's required by law, but also for students who maybe don't have a documented disability, but find certain modes of access, I guess, easier than others. So if there's something that I'm doing in these videos or anything about the course setup that is just really confusing or just really not working for you, please do let me know. Oh, recording sensitive topics. This is a new one. This is, I think, brand new, hot off the presses. And this is basically saying that when we have those synchronous sessions, we will not record each other. I will record the session itself as a tool for people who maybe can't make that particular synchronous session. but other students, you are not to record or use those recordings in any way beyond, its intended educative purpose. So there's the statement on that. Lots of other information. There's a food pantry on campus. And again, I talked about technology earlier, but thinking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if we don't have our basic needs met, it's super hard to do graduate work, right? So if you're ever facing a shortage or an insecurity of any of those basic needs, please let me know. Okay, here's our course calendar. And at this point, actually, before I get into all of this, I'm going to toggle back to our discussion or our Blackboard course where all of this information can be found. Okay, so here we are, back to the Blackboard course. Okay, so course information. There's our course syllabus. If you go to content, once again, I've done that cool Google Docs trick. And here is the course calendar. All of these hyperlinks should work. And I've organized the content like this rather than in individual folders by week, because one thing I can't stand about Blackboard is when I'm looking for a reading that we did a couple weeks ago or a resource, and then when I'm looking through the folders and they're only labeled by week, I have no idea. I'm clicking through a million folders before I find like the reading or the resource that I was looking for. So I was hopeful that setting it up like this, again, makes it just easier to kind of toggle back and forth. As I mentioned, all of the readings that I've assigned will be here. You can click on them. Here's the Ladson Billings article, for instance. Oh, that's not working. Oh, I got to change some permissions. Friends, by the time you see this video, these permissions will be changed and you'll be able to access that Delpit article as well as the others. And you can also use the back and forward buttons on your browser. And you can also use the back and forward buttons on your browser to go back. So that should work. Okay. So here it all is. And again, I've included relevant links so that at any point that you have questions, you have a place to turn. I've noted here also all of the assignments that we have and when they are due. So those critical responses start up the week of September 7th through the 13th, with our initial post due on that Thursday and then follow-ups due on that Sunday. So here's that course calendar for you. Back over here on our left-hand menu bar, if we go to the Assignments tab, you will see it's kind of a shortcut to all of our assignments for the semester. And within each folder, you'll find an assignment description that you can click on for more information. And then you'll also find where you need to submit that assignment. In the case of the VoiceThread introduction, this is an all class or whole class discussion. So you click on this link and it will take you to the specific discussion that I'm asking you to embed the assignment within. So again, that assignments tab is there for you. Like I mentioned, if you want to, you can look at any of these projects or assignments right now and get a sense of what you'll need to be doing. Okay, discussions. You can also get to our VoiceThread, our first assignment this way through the discussion tab. I've also included at the bottom just an open forum for any sort of course help. So if you're really stuck on something or confused by some aspect, feel free to throw a question in here. And I'm encouraging other colleagues too. If you see someone has written a question that you actually know the answer to, feel free to respond to them directly within this discussion board. Okay, and then our critical response groups. I've created another little tab here for us. I thought that might be easier. When you click on this critical response groups, you should be taken to your specific group. That will be the only one that is available for you. You'll click on the name of the group. You'll go down to your group discussion board. And here's where you will post those critical responses and also respond to your colleagues. So they're all here. And that takes us through the Blackboard course setup, more or less. This week, I am asking everyone to take a deep dive into that syllabus. I kind of brushed over it, but please read through it carefully and send me questions if you have them. And the last thing I wanted to show you was just how to get through an Access VoiceThread, in case that's something new for some of us. Okay, so I'm going to go to Content. This is where our course calendar is. You click on that VoiceThread introduction. Here's the assignment description. So for 10 points, I'm asking you to create a VoiceThread responding to this set of prompts right here. And note that the initial VoiceThread is due Thursday, the 27th, and then do some follow-up comments either on the VoiceThread itself or within the discussion board by Sunday, August 30th. So choose 2 people at least, watch through their VoiceThreads and leave some comments for them. I'm going to toggle over to VoiceThread right now. So once you click this link here, that will take you to the Washington State login for VoiceThread. I'm in my own account right now, and I have a sample introduction that I have already posted for you all to see. And let's say that you want to share it. So I just wanted to walk you through this. You can just simply click share. We have basic, I guess we just have a basic account. And you can either just copy this link and put it into the discussion board, into your specific thread, or a cooler way that's maybe a little easier is to actually embed it. So you'll just go over here, click embed. You'll copy this. In fact, it has a button for you right here to copy this entire embed code. Check. Then when you're in the discussion forum, you'll create your thread. And you'll access this little HTML button. And if you don't see it right away, there's probably some down arrows that you can click on to expand this menu. But here it is, HTML. You just paste that code. Click update. You'll see this yellow box. It's not very helpful. You just have to sort of trust and have faith that it is there. Here's our subject. And then you'll submit it. And then, as you'll notice, once you embed it, then it just shows up right away and people can just click on play. It saves them, you know, the single navigation away from Blackboard in order to watch your VoiceThread. So that's just a little helpful hint. All right, friends, it's been 22 minutes, almost 23 minutes. Most of my video announcements will not be this long, but thank you for your time and for your attention, and I'm so excited to work with you all this semester.